Now we're going to simplify radicals with variables. If I have to take the square root of x squared, what I want to know is what multiplied by itself will give me x squared. It's going to be x. What if I want to take the square root of x to the fourth? I want to know x to the what times x to the what gives me x to the fourth. And remember, in multiplication, we add exponents. So it's going to be x squared. Because remember, if I take x squared times x squared, I add exponents, I get x to the fourth. Let's say I want to take the square root of x to the sixth. So it's x to the what times x to the what. Remember, for square root, they have to be identical. That'll give me a 6. It's got to be x cubed. Because x cubed times x cubed, if we add exponents, I get x to the sixth. Now we'll do 2 more. Let's say I take the square root of x to the eighth. What times itself will give me x to the eighth? It's got to be x to the fourth. And 1 more. We'll take the square root of x to the 10th. So now it's going to be x to the 5th, because x to the 5th times x to the 5th, remember multiplication, we add exponents, so I get x to the 10th. So I see a pattern. I can take the square root of any even exponent, and it's always half. In other words, this is even, 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 even. So any even exponent, it's always half. So now the problem comes if it's odd. Let's say I have to take the square root of x cubed. So now what I do is just what we did with our numbers. I break it up into 2 parts. This is the perfect square part. This is the leftover. So I can break x cubed down into x squared and x. Then I take the square root of what I can. The square root of x squared is x. X comes out of the square root sign. So you got to make sure you take the square root of this. So it's x, the square root of x. Alright, let's do another one, and we'll add a coefficient. Let's say I have 4x cubed. And the thing with this is they're all just a little different. I break it up into 2 parts. This is my perfect square part. This is my leftover. So the common mistake on this one is to break the 4 up into 2 and 2. Anything I can take the square root of, I put in my perfect square part. So my 4 goes here. I break x cubed down into x squared and x. So everything I can take the square root of goes here. This is my leftover. Now I can take the square root of this. So the square root of 4 is 2, comes out of the square root sign. Then make sure you take the square root of x squared. That's x. So I get the square root of x. Alright, we'll do another one. Let's say I have the square root of 18x to the 5th. So now I'm going to break this down. I would put the 18 here if I could take the square root of it, but I can't. So I break this down into 9 and 2. Hopefully everybody understands why it can't be 6 and 3. Now, if this is your first time doing these, I'm going to write this down, but it's going to be wrong. So don't write this down. You might think that I break this down into x squared and x cubed. But then the problem is, it's like the square root of 48. I'd have to break this x cubed down into x squared and x. So I don't do it that way. So what I do is my 9 and my 2 are good. I break it down into the highest even. I make this x to the fourth and x. So now, the square root of 9 is 3. The square root of x to the fourth is always half, x squared. So I get 3x squared, square root of 2x. So we're going to do a couple more. So let's say I have a bigger one. We're just going to add another letter. Let's say I have x to the 7th, y to the 8th. And I want to simplify it. So the process is the same. I break it down. I want everything I can take the square root of here. This is my leftover. Remember, I can take the square root of even exponents evenly. This is odd. Odd, I break down. So this is going to be to the highest even and 1. This is even. Even stays. Now, I take the square root of what I can. I can take the square root of any even exponent. It's always half. This is going to give me x cubed, y to the fourth, square root of x. Let's do another one. Let's make it a to the 6th, b to the 5th, c to the 10th. Any even exponent goes here. I can take the square root of it. This is my odd. So, a to the 6th is even. Eventually, it's going to be a cubed. Right now, I'm just going to leave it in the perfect square part. B to the 5th is odd. So I break it down into b to the 4th and b. C to the 10th is even. So it stays. So now I can take the square root of all that. I get a cubed, b squared, c to the 5th, the square root of b. Let's do another one. I'll use x, y, z. Let's make it x to the 11th, y squared, z to the 5th. So now, everything I can take the square root of goes here. That's my leftover. This is odd. So I break it down into the highest even and 1. This is even. Stays. This is odd. I break it down z to the 4th and z. Now I can take the square root of this. I'm going to get x to the 5th, y, z squared, square root of xz.